Hello, everybody. So today's another installment of Real Life with Bonnie and Blythe. I think that's so fun every time I say it. Today's going to be more like IG story-ish, because I've got whiny kids and a messy house. But I did want to show you guys our schoolroom that is still totally a work in progress. Because a lot of people have asked what homeschool looks like around here. But this isn't just for homeschoolers. I feel like a lot of what we've figured out in the past few years has helped us just have an educational atmosphere in general. So whether you homeschool, whether you put your kids in private or public school or charter school or whatever, I think a couple of, it's really simple to implement a couple of things that help your house be really like educationally minded. Somebody wants to go in the pool and no one is cooperating, so she's frustrated. Okay, so let me show you guys. Now, fair warning, I briefly contemplated cleaning it up and making it Instagram worthy, but I did not on purpose because this is real life with the whiny kid in the background. So I'm just gonna give you a little peek and then I will explain what we did. So this is the room right now. We got some coloring kids, cabinets, desks, table. That's a door to outside. And then bookshelves that we installed. So this whole thing was just a big empty room when we first started. I believe that the previous owners used it as a family room. There was like TV hookup. In fact, sadly, there was fireplace in here because we noticed a chimney, but there's no fireplace. Like they walled it off years ago. Sad. I don't know why I want a fireplace in Phoenix, but I just love the idea of that one day that dips below 50 degrees, turning on the fireplace and being cozy in front of it. Oh well, maybe someday we can build another one or get a fake one. So the purpose of this room now, I will say that right up front, a lot of people are kind of against the idea of making a school room or making a part of the home look like school, because a lot of proponents of homeschooling say that the whole point is to make your life more educational, not bring school home, if that makes sense. Frankly, I think whatever works for you works for you. I wouldn't take that personally if that doesn't work for you. For us, I felt like we really needed a dedicated space for books, a dedicated space for coloring and art projects, because I can't handle it on the kitchen table. It makes me nutso. And so this was born. If I had to do one thing differently, I would probably have left a spot for a couch or comfy seating. So let me show you again. Originally, we used a designer for this, and one of these days I'll clean it all up and take pretty pictures so it lives on the blog. But she had initially suggested a little love seat right here, but there's bedrooms back there, and I feel like that would have really occluded the walkway. So we decided not to do that. This little toy area right here, so that's all our toys. Clearly they're spilling out, and I need to go back and listen to my podcast episode about toy management and get rid of like half that. But I have a cushion that I'm covering for this right there, and that is designed to be a little reading bench window seat thing, which I like that idea of having just a bunch of comfy pillows and stuff for kids to read in here. But it would be even better if we had a couch for us to all cuddle up and do. Now I will show you in our family room, we do have our big sectional, and we don't have a TV in here. So this is usually where we do all of our reading, right here. Also very real lifey. And I love that we just don't have any bookcases right here close by. I think I might replace this thing with a bookcase, just so the place where we spend most of our time wrestling and talking and reading has really easy access to books. But I do like the storage in that other room because it's a lot bigger and we can have more space in there. Oh, you love my blue background. Thank you. I love that idea too. I've always wanted bookshelves with a pretty background. And this guy suggested, okay, they're going right now. Come on. Let's take a whiny kid outside. Okay, go on out there then. When they go in the pool, you can go in too. Okay, so what happened was, instead of painting the wall behind this before they installed it, which I thought about doing, he actually did I'll show you real quick. This is like particle board or whatever he put in the back of the shelves. And so you can see we haven't covered up this outlet yet. This little piece of board right there. And the cabinet guy covered that with the lacquer that they use on cabinets. So it's better than paint. You know, it's like what professional cabinets use, this lacquer stuff that will just stay put for a long time and is really wipeable, etc. So anyway, here's how we sort our books. And this is a really cool trick that I learned from TJ Ed. Now, if you're familiar with homeschooling at all, Thomas Jefferson education is like a paradigm that a lot of people use. It's very into learning about the Constitution and the Founding Fathers and that sort of thing, hence the Thomas Jefferson. And so what they suggest is organizing your bookshelves according to reading age. So you have the bottom shelves. All these bottom shelves right here for us are all little kid books, right? So they're... I'll take you out in a minute. So that basic, you guys, sorry. I thought she was going to go out and swim with her brother, but he doesn't want to swim with her. They are board books, foam books, anything indestructible for a toddler or baby. And the reason that they're down low is obviously so that those little kids can reach them and have easy access. Now, having books down low, I'm going to tell you from, I'm sure most of moms with experience know, is not what you do if you want to clean house, right? Because kids come in, they just go pull them all on the floor. But come here, let me hold you. Let me hold you. You want to say hi to my friends? But it's what you do if you want your kids to develop a love for reading, because then the books are easily accessible. Hey, say hi. Say, I'm so sad today. I want to go in the pool. We'll get to go in the pool in a second. Okay, so secondly, are these second shelves right here. The level up right there is our, our regular picture books. So that's anything that requires a little bit of reading skill. Okay. So, obviously any basic picture books. Above that, but easy chapter books. The dictionary's not supposed to go there. Easy chapter books. And then up here are more complex chapter books. And then I have my books or classics up above that. And the idea is to put like decorative stuff up top. So what that does is it creates this really cool visual concept of this is where we start out. When we're babies, we read these really basic board books. We look at these cute pictures. That's what reading is for us, right? As we learn to read, then we get to move up to these really cool board book or picture books, and mom helps us, and we can do them ourselves sometimes. And then we move on to these easy readers, et cetera, et cetera. And then when you get to be a big kid, you get to read these big books up here, the classics, the ones that everyone should read and that are going to really add value to their education. So anyway, I love that system simply because I know exactly where to find specific books. If I'm looking for something for a 7-year-old to practice her new vocabulary, we go to some, we go to some picture books and then maybe an easy reader. Right now it's kind of a mess, but I usually have a stack of Bob books. So that's these ones. You guys are probably familiar with these. A torn one. But these are the really thin little easy readers. Costco usually has a giant pack of them every now and again. And I have a specific spot for those so that when I know I'm working with a very beginning reader, we go to there, we grab one of those, and we grab the level that coincides with where they're at. So I just want to share that really quickly with you guys. I feel like it's a really, really helpful way to organize books, to get kids willing to read. They're in the laundry. And working their way up gradually to more and more complicated stuff. So I am going to show you the rest of this just for curiosity's sake. Some of it we already use the way we're supposed to, some we do not. Okay, I'm going to read this comment. I made up something called the Book Fairy. She delivers new books to our shelf. I love that idea. I also love the idea of rotating books like toys. You guys have probably heard that, right? Some people will take toys that aren't being used, put them in a box in the garage, and then rotate them when kids get bored. I love that idea of doing that also with books because I feel like kids will see the same things on the shelf over and over and over and get used to passing them by. But if you bring something fresh and new out of the garage or the back room or something, then kids tend to get a little bit more interested in it. Okay, so this is the other side. Obviously a mess. I love that Juliet has already started using this space as a sewing space. We have some fabric and supplies in there. Girl. Up here, school and game supplies. So I had to have high cabinets where we could put games, anything with little pieces that I don't want kids into. And this right here is the one that's always the mess because that's paint supplies, coloring supplies, laminating supplies, basically anything that I want accessible, but without kids into it all the time. And my cabinet guy, check this out, put a lock on it. He put a lock on this one, and then this little latch. Let me see if I can show you guys. This little latch right here that keeps this one closed, and then the lock locks into the other one. So highly recommend at least one locking cabinet. If you have any sort of art supplies or school supplies, I'm sure you moms have all figured that out already. But the nice thing is we try to only have it open during specific hours of the day. So if they want to color, they have to wait till between 10 and 1 or whatever, so that things are kind of controlled a little bit. It makes me really crazy when there's pencils everywhere and things get destroyed and our supplies are gone in 5 seconds because no one's taking care of them like they should. These desks over here aren't super commonly used because we have the big table, and it's not often that we have all kids working in here at the same time. It just gets too loud. But I do use one little space for my planner and doing bills and stuff. We have a printer right here, dog bed. Apparently the dog likes to be in here. Some more random books right here. We have math and history, etc. My binder with all my resources is in here, as well as a couple of workbooks that I've laminated and put in there. So if you ever have a workbook that you don't want to go through, continue buying multiples of because you have multiple kids, you can tear out pages and laminate each one and put it in a binder. If you have more than about 4 kids, this is really cost effective because laminating isn't that expensive, and then you don't have to rebuy the workbooks. So that's what we've done there. And then here's the plan for these other little bookshelves. We haven't done this yet, but one of the homeschooling programs that we have looked into is Well-Educated Heart. So that is this yearly rotation of subjects. So it's a really interesting thing, and you could totally do this even if you aren't a homeschooler too. Each month there is a handful of historical subjects that you cover, and they naturally lead into each other. So for example, the New World, when you start reading about America, you also start studying a little bit about Spain because Columbus came from Spain. You start learning a little bit about, I can't remember what else goes on there, Native Americans, because he founded Native Americans when he came here, etc. So it's a really cool system of getting through the history of time itself, civilization, everything we know in a timely fashion, and then each year they go into it more in depth, which is pretty cool. So the reason I explain that is because each of these shelves right here we had built specifically for certain months or topics. So we've only filled 1 or 2 right now because we're still working on it. But ideally we will have each of those in there. So that means that when January comes around, they know exactly what little cubby to go to. If they're looking for books about World War I, they know what book cubby to go to, etc. And it's a really convenient way of storing things and keeping kids organized so they know the book goes back there. In fact, I've also thought about, I had a friend who labels her books by, I think she does it by level. She'll put like a little colored sticker on the corner on the book spine. But you could also do that for whatever system of rotation. You could do that for reading level. You could do that for topic, the country you're studying or the time frame or whatever. All the January books could be color coded pink or something so they know exactly where to put them back. So if you really want to get organized, that would be a great way to do it. And maybe one of these days I will. So anyway, I just share that because I think that it's always fun for me to see how people lay out educational stuff, whether it's homeschooling stuff or just books and crafts and that sort of thing. I really love that room. Like I said, the only thing I think I would do differently is to maybe have a comfy place to sit. But I think if we add our bookcase to our living room with the big couch, that will probably be enough for us. So it's going to be fun to see how it evolves as my kids get older. Right now, that main table is, like you saw, just coloring place, arts and crafts place where you can use glue or messy stuff. I will show you this table really quickly. We bought this on Wayfair, I think. What I love about it is that it's this like shiny lacquered type surface, and just about everything wipes off it or picks off it really, really easily. Except, of course, within maybe 2 months of buying it, my kids still figured something out to mark it permanently. My son had alcohol-based markers for art, and he happened to give them to a small child because he didn't want them. Thanks, kid. Anyway, so that stained it, of course, but whatever, that's life. But anyway, it is a really great spot for us all to get together to do arts and crafts. And you guys, my brain doesn't work. I can't talk today, but do arts and crafts, to sit with the kid to do some math. And then we also have the dining room table if we need to spread out to that. But I don't know about you guys. If there's messes on the dining room table, I go a little bit crazy. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I would love to hear comments from you guys if you have a really great book organization system or system for keeping school and art supplies organized, because I think that those things can really make or break our sanity sometimes. And I'll have to take pictures and show you guys the after once those toys are purged and we've got everything put together and looking pretty. But that's the real life version of it for you. I hope that you can relate. And yeah, thanks for watching. Talk to you guys later. Bye.